become future stars. Chapter 8. Rana Pratap. Scene 1. A mountain plateau in the Aravalli. Rana Pratap Singh, with his family and a few faithful soldiers, had found a temporary refuge here. The plateau is surrounded by dense jungle and is far from all human haunt except for a few huts occupied by the hillfolk. Seated under a tree, Tara and Tetsi, the children of the Rana, are talking together. The girl is about 8 years old and the boy is 2 or 3 years younger. From the place they are seated, they can see a long distance across the plains, including the Mughal encampment at the foot of the mountains. Tetsi, wistfully, would it be so wrong to want to live in Delhi? The children there eat honey cakes the whole day long. Tara, indignantly, would it be wrong? And you are Rana's son. Look out across the plains. As far as you can see and miles beyond stretches out Mewar. Word meaning: dense, thick, haunt, to visit or appear frequently. Encampment, a large camp for soldiers. Wistfully, in a wistful manner. Which all belonged to us until the Mughals came and with their great guns blew our forts to pieces. And yet you talk of Delhi, you greedy little boy. Tetsi, you want to make me cry. But see, you cannot. I am a Rana's son. I only meant if he was king of Delhi, I'd like a honey cake, just one, suddenly. I am so hungry. Tara, don't cry. See, here's a cake. A child ran out when I was passing by a little hut all made of mud and grass, but very pretty. She watched me through the tangle of her hair, and when I smiled, fell down before me on her knees and cried, "Princess, giving me this." Tetsi, I don't know how she knew you were a princess, with not an anklet or a bracelet on you and your faded cotton dress. Tara, perhaps it is not clothes or jewels which show royal birth. But take your cake. Tetsi, how nice of you not to eat it. Tara, ruefully, I wanted to, oh, how I wanted to. But thought of you, a little boy, so hungry. Tetsi, it looks like honey cake. Tara, it is, and no nasty Delhi with it either. Come, eat it up and then we'll play a game. Tetsi, what shall we play? Tara, oh, I'll be Sita, and you can be Rama, that is if you speak no more of Delhi. If you do, then you must be Ravana. Tetsi, I won't. I won't be Ravana. Why, he was wicked, Tara. Tara, there, I only said it to tease you. Is the cake good? Tetsi, so good that I'm eating it crumb by crumb to make it last longer. Tara, I heard mother say today that she had no more flour. Nothing at all from which to make one dinner. Tetsi, what shall we do? Tara, well, listen. When mother said that, the Rana was lying stretched out upon the grass quite tired out. We thought he was asleep, but he sprang up, and oh! His face was terrible. I wanted to run away, but was afraid to move. Tetsi, what happened then? Word meaning: pretty, pleasing in a graceful way. Tangle, to intertwine in a confused mass. Nasty, foul, wicked, bad, mischievous or corrupt. Tara, he strode across the grass until he came to the edge of the ravine, the place from which you see the Mughal camp quite plainly, and then he raised his hand. I think perhaps I should not tell you. Tetsi, oh please tell me. I'll be a man soon. Tara, well then he called upon the gods to punish Akbar, to send to him all manner of evil things, famine and sickness and bad sons. You know how loud the thunder crashed last night, roll after roll, and not a drop of rain, the lightning looking amongst the rocks like fiery snakes. They'd see, fearfully, all that great noise. Do you think it was the gods getting ready? Tara, who knows? Nurse said so, but mother told her to be silent, knowing that I was listening. Tetsi, then there will be no food today, not even for the Rana. Hides the last morsel of his cake in the bosom of his tunic. Tara, oh yes, there will be some food, for even as mother said there was no flour, Amar's wife ran up and whispered that she knew a way of grinding the grass that grows about here, cooking it into bread. She is so clever, although born a princess, she cooks and sews and knows hundreds of stories. Tetsi, she's just like Sita, grand and gentle too. Tara, I hope that Amar will not make her cry or send her off to some far jungle. Tetsi, here she comes. Tara, Meera darling, we were saying how much are you like Sita. Meera, the girl wife of Prince Amar, joins the children and sits down beside them. Then with a teasing smile, she draws out from the folds of her sari a little book and pretends to read. Tara, now, Meera, that's too bad. Aren't you going to tell us a story? You know that we can't read yet. Meera, smiling again, that is because you are lazy little things. Tetsi, it is not really. Nobody has time to teach us. You see, we do not stay very long anywhere, in case Akbar catches us and takes us off to Delhi. Tara, in a sing-song voice, then you'd have plenty of honey cakes, honey. Word meaning. Ravine, a deep narrow valley. Famine, an acute shortage of food in a region. Morsel, a bit. Pretends, to create a false appearance of something. Cakes, honey cakes. Meera, don't tease him, Tara. Akbar will never catch you, don't worry. Prince Amar has a great sword, silver and gold. Rawat Krishna gave it to him. It once belonged to Rana Sanga, so you see we are all quite safe. I'll tell you a secret. The Emperor Akbar himself can't read. Tetsi, I'll learn before he can. Meera, I'm sure you will. Shall I tell you story? Both children, yes. Please do. Meera, putting an arm round each child, now what shall the story be? Tetsi, quickly, something about great battles. Meera, sadly, no. We hear enough about battles every day, those past and others to come. Tara, tell us the story of the little Hare whose shadow falls on the moon when it is at the full. Meera, once, long ago, Meera tells a story. Tara, and that is why we see the outline of a Hare upon the moon? Meera, the story tells us so. But see, children, the sun is setting. The Rana has ordered all to be within camp before daylight dies. She gives a hand to each child, and together the little group moves towards the camp. All that is left now to Rana Pratap Singh. Scene 2. Rana Pratap Singh with the remnants of his followers, his family and their attendants is. Word meaning. Quite. Completely. Battles. Combats between two armed forces. Remnants. Parts left over. Attendants. A person who is employed to look after. Encamped at the foot to the Aravali. It is dark, and the chain of mountain fortresses looms like an impregnable black wall above them. The royal ladies are resting after the fatigues of the march, and the Rana and his son Prince Amar stand together, withdrawn a little from the rest of the warriors. Pratap Singh, speaking with calm bitterness, come, Amar, look your last upon the land where you were born. It was meant for your inheritance, and long have I striven and for it and you. Look once again, then turn your eyes towards exile. This is the last phase of Pratap Singh of Mewad. Prince Amar, vehemently, Father, I would have fought until my sword had been broken at the hilt, or I had fallen dead, rather than leave our country. Pratap Singh, And so would I, my son, for what is life when exiled and stripped of all which made each day a fresh and fine adventure? Waves a hand towards where the ladies are places. But what of those poor women, the queen, and your newlywed wife, a gallant child but tender? Prince Amar, Meera. If I had died for Mewar, we had long decided that this good sword of mine should have set her free. Pratap Singh, shocked, that lovely maiden you would have killed her, Amar, very proudly, yes, killed her so that no rough hand should touch her robe. She wished it, being a Rajput woman, and begged me with many tears never to leave her. Pratap Singh, with a sigh almost of relief, well, she at least is safe, and my dear queen the noblest woman ever given to man. Come, look your last, dear prince, the light is failing, then break your sword and lay it shattered as a last offering upon the tomb of your lost Mewar. Prince Amar, in great distress, what? Break my sword, Maharana ji. Do not ask me. It is the very one that Rawat Krishna gave me, bidding me be the first knight of the great Rana Pratap Singh. Pratap Singh, brokenly, good, noble, brave Salumbar. If he spoke so, then Amar, keep your sword, and I'll keep mine. I had intended to live the life of any private man, even turn shepherd and watch goats as the great Sangha did. Prince Amar, cheerfully, and very badly, getting a cuff from his rough master. Pratap Singh, kings are not suited to be a shepherd's staff, though even they may learn. Well, Amar, your high spirits have helped my own, fallen so low that the vast desert stretching out before us might well have been my bear. Prince Amar, shyly, I am glad you're comforted. But who is this approaching? An old word meaning benevolent, kindly and helpful, venerable, worthy of reverence, wanderer, one who wanders, hoard, a stare of something valuable. Man, a Brahman from his dress, and all his company are Brahmins too, no warrior among them. Pratap Singh, strange, in these warlike times, an unarmed band. Perhaps they carry daggers beneath their robes. It seems they're friendly. Prince Amar, shall I ask their business? Here comes Rav Sakta. Moves forward quickly to meet Rav Sakta, the chief of the Saktavats, who is accompanying the Rana into exile. Uncle, who are these Brahmins by their dress? It's very strange that should seek the Rana at this late hour. Rav Sakta, Geli, who are these? Why, nephew, pilgrims surely, who seek the safety of our armed escort. Even the desert might conceal a band of thieves or some sharp spy of Akbar. Prince Amar, laughing too, to steal from you. That would be clever. Earnestly, it's not for myself I want good tidings. Rav Sakta, ha! Prince Amar, laughing again, how good it is to laugh once more. Rav Sakta, SSSH. You will awake the queen. She'll think you crazy, for Mirth has long been absent from our thoughts. Prince Amar, but have you any good news? Rav Sakta, well, middling good. Prince Amar, then share it with the Rana. Rav Sakta, it is all his. The Chief Minister, Bhama Sa, has come to say farewell, to wish the Rana happy days and all good fortune. Prince Amar, disappointed, good fortune happy days. Went far from Mewar. So, word meaning, unarmed, not armed, conceal, to hide, tidings, news, mirth, merriment. That's your news. Good Bhama Sah meant well, but yet another parting will make it harder for my father. See how he stands there, uncle, quite alone. Rav Sakta, quickly, his back is not towards Mewar. Crosses over the grass to where the Rana is standing, still gazing at the dim outline of the peaks of the Aravali. He seems to have forgotten the arrivals. Rao Sakta touches him on the arm. Patta, Patta, I have news for you. Bhamasa wishes pay his respects to you. Significantly, some great benevolent purpose brings him after us. Pratap Singh, good, kind old man. For generations his family has served the state. Well, bring him to me. This grassy plot must be my hall of audience. Sakta hurries off and returns with the venerable figure of Bhamasa, whom he leaves alone with the Rana. The minister prostrates himself at the feet of Pratap Singh. Rise, my good friend. No longer I am Lord of Mewar, only a poor wanderer. Bitterly, my caravan, it would disgrace a gypsy. Bhamasa rises to his feet and stands with folded hands and bent head in front of his master. Maharanaji. Long ago my ancestors found favor with the lords of Mewar. Since then, thanks to a grand and generous rule, great prosperity has attended all our family. No need, no hardship has ever caused Rana to levy a tax upon our private fund. And so we find ourselves rich in a land of ruin. While princes hungered, we have been able to hoard lots of gold. Pratap Singh, wearily, nothing wrong in that. No stain has ever touched your honor, my good Bhamasa. In fact, I'm glad to feel there's one relation my conflict has not ruined. So go your way and take your Rana's blessing, even if he calls himself so for the last time. Word meaning: benevolent, kindly and helpful, venerable, worthy of reverence, wanderer, one who wanders, hoard, a stare of something valuable. Bhamasa, the hoarded wealth of many years I've brought for your acceptance. Pratap Singh, in amazement, for mine? Bhamasa, I have not kept one golden coin, nor anything I thought could swell the fund. Dear Lord, my kindest, noblest master, I have lived to greet the day when I might bring my service to one full and splendid close. I have enough wealth to feed and arm your warriors for 12 to 15 years. Not just a few brave men, but 20, 30,000 lusty Rajput. Come, how's that for Akbar? We'll soon show him, and his Mughals, too, how the men from Mewar may rally. Upon the hillside, I passed a Mughal camp. A merry crew, all drinking good riddance to the Rana, the flying Rana Pratap. We stole so quietly by them, they little knew how near them a band of well-picked swordsmen, looking like humble pilgrims, passed. They little knew our purpose or how, below Kumbhalmer, we'd saddled 60 horses who had descended the rocky paths, each moving as quietly as a leopard on its padded paws. Pratap Singh, your tidings almost take away my power of speech. Am I awake? I fear that this is all a dream. Bhamasa, delighted, a dream, my Rana? Look, is that a dream? Points to of a group of horsemen who are approaching the camp cautiously. We muffled all the trappings, tricked out the men like mummies. A Mughal, straying from his camp and meeting such a party, would have gone mad with fear, thinking he saw the ghosts of Rana Pratap's band, believing you far away across the sandy desert, with every faithful Rajput following your blood-red flag. Pratap Singh, and you, brave Bhamasa, came all unarmed to bring me joy, the like of which I have not felt since the grand day when, hailed as Mewar's ruler, I led the hung. Bhamasa, that was a day. But do not prize my valor so highly. Beneath my pilgrim's robe, I wear light mail. My sword lies snug inside. Once, in days of Sangha, that sword saw service. I've never drawn it since, but spent my life toiling for this great moment. Pratap Singh, if good days come, and the Sisodias plant once again the emblem of the sun about Chittor, your family shall be still further honored. I hail you, Bhamasa, as savior of Mewar. Bhamasa, very simply, I love you, Maharanaji, you and all your race. I ask for no reward but still to serve you. The moon is rising. What a night to take the Mughal outpost unawares and then press on to Doha. Shahbaz Khan. Word meaning: splendid, magnificent, lusty, strong, riddance, deliverance, valor, bravery. Himself is making merry, thinking you are tolling across the desert with your face turned towards forgetfulness. Pratap Singh, you are a counselor as golden as the money you give so freely for our country. I feel my sword, like some live thing, pricking me on to action. Come, let us rejoin the chiefs. This is grand news for them. He moves towards the camp where Rao Sakta and Prince Amar are waiting anxiously for news of the interviews. Bhama Shah follows the Rana, still mindful of his royal rank. But Pratap Singh waits for him and, taking him by the arm, leads him to Prince Amar. My son, salute the noblest man that ever Mewad reared. Prince Amar, puzzled but willing to believe his father, my thanks and greetings, Bhama Shah. Rav Shakt, and mine, if it was you who mounted the 60 horsemen who have joined us. Bhama Shah, and 60 more for every mile between this camp and Doha. Rao Sakta, uproariously, what a man! If Akbar knew, he'd barter half his captains for such a one. Why, Raja Birbal, whom there's so much talk about, is but a shadow of our shrewd Bhama Shah. Bhama Shah, dryly, we'll see when this night's work is over. Maharana ji, I ask leave of you to depart. You too have much to think of. At every mile are posted well-armed men. They know the signal. Farewell, and heaven be with you in your most noble purpose. With a fresh prostration, Bhama Shah takes leave of the Rana and, collecting his innocent-looking guard, returns the way he had come. As he passes the 60 horsemen, there is a clash of steel, and 60 swords flash out in the moonlight. Bhama Shah raises his hand as if blessing the swords, and then moves into the shadow of the rocks that overhang the mountain track and is lost to sight. Word meaning: toiling, to work hard and long, anxiously, eagerly, barter, to trade by exchanging some goods for other goods. Shrewd, showing common sense. Like, share, and subscribe.